Hey guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I am in my digital study companion that I created a year and a half ago, I think. A while ago, I don't know. I do sell this on my amethystascension.com. It is my, learn astrology with me, and it is a digital companion. So it goes to different, if you want to learn more about the sun, this is my personal copy. If you want to learn more about the moon, oh, that's the same. Mercury and Venus, or you can just scroll like this. I've got at a glance with the charts, celestial bodies at a glance, all of them. Understanding your chart, it breaks it down. This is what I did in my memberships a few years ago, and then I had created a PDF, which I still have the PDF for sale, but I turned it into a digital format for people that like using their planners and like accessing stuff at a touch, blank chart, and it's also got my chart in there. I'm talking about the nodes, Chiron. We talk about aspects, elements, polarities, modalities, orientations, the different zodiac signs. Now, keep in mind, this was based off of when I was learning initially about Western astrology and then just had started learning about Vedic astrology. It was essentially right before I started learning about true sidereal or real sky. But, I mean, true sidereal and real sky use a lot of the same structure of Western astrology, Western tropical. But today what I wanted to really talk about is the seasons. The seasons in Western tropical astrology, and why I say in my post that we're out of sync with that also, and that argument that it's a seasonal system no longer holds water. I mean, it no longer holds any credibility for me. And I'm going to show you why. So let's go to the modalities. So one of the things with astrology that I learned pretty early on is about the modalities. And when you were doing like the Deacon Walk, you became really familiar with the cardinal signs, the fixed signs, and the mutable signs. And essentially the cardinal signs are all of the signs that are like the beginning signs, the first sign of a new season. And then the fixed signs were the ones that were in the middle, dead middle of the season. And the mutable signs were the ones that were the endings of those seasons. So when this was all started, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn were all of the seasons that were. So Aries was the beginning of spring, Cancer was the beginning of summer, Libra was, the sun was in that particular constellation at the beginning of these particular seasons. The way that the seasons are determined is by the spring equinox, the autumn equinox, the summer solstice, and the winter solstice. Okay? And what is in the northern hemisphere is reversed as to what is in the southern hemisphere. So above and below the equator. So these were what was considered our cardinal signs. So cardinal signs use centrifugal radiating energy, which moves out in direction. When this energy is exaggerated, it would be choosing to many activities and not completing any. When this energy is deficient, it would be someone with a lack of drive, initiative, or I'm not even going to go into any of those. That is essentially what I had learned early on. However, if you think about like the beginning energies of any of the seasons, You think about like cardinal. So what's coming in, you think about that kind of energy, like new beginnings, right? People that have the ability to be entrepreneurs and people that are starters and inspire people and they're go-getters. They initiate stuff, right? So yes, generating, beginning, doing, initiating, originating, enterprising, active, direct. That's like those characteristics were brought in because that is the beginning signs of those seasons. That's why they were designated to Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. The fixed signs were the ones that were in the middle. So they were like the hardworking, they were the salt of the earth, they were fixed and could be stubborn, but they were the ones that really put in the hard work and they finished what the cardinal signs, didn't necessarily finish. They were the ones that like stayed the course, So those, because they were considered the middle of a season, smack dab in the middle of a season. And I'm going to break that down a little bit more. But so those fixed signs were Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, okay, at the time that this was set up, which is roughly 2,000 years ago. Mutable signs are the signs that are leaving the end of the season and ending around the beginning of a new season. So they're more fluctuating. They're good. It's easier for them to go through change, and they are kind of like the mediators between like the beginning and the middle because they are more, what it says, mutable. They're more distributing, adaptable, flexible, adjustable, connecting, linking, mental and learning and change. They're versatile. They're more dual because it's like when we think of going from one sign to another sign, or if you're a cusp, you get the energy kind of both, right? Well, that's what the mutable signs look like. So that's what these particular signs were set up because they were the signs that the sun was in at a certain period of time when it was either the beginning, middle, or end of a season. And we just talked about what dictates a season, and I've talked about it in a previous video. Spring starts on the spring equinox, and summer starts on the summer solstice. Autumn begins on the autumn equinox, and winter begins on the winter solstice. So we're going to go to my other journal here. What I have done is I have put like winter all in blue. So when we see what sign we're actually in, but see, the thing is, this is just the beginning of the year. If we go to December, we are in the beginning stages of Sagittarius with the winter solstice. The winter solstice is what starts winter, right? We are in the sign of Sagittarius, not Capricorn. So truly that attribute of cardinal would now be attributed to Sagittarius. But it's not so cut and dry like that because Sagittarius works through the beginning of winter, and then we go into January, and now we're still in the beginning of winter. Even though it's the beginning of the year, beginning, and then we move into Capricorn, yes. So we see in the middle, because M for middle, of the winter season. And the way that I determined this, just to break this down a little bit better for you also, is I counted how many days were in each season based on the solstices and the equinoxes. So then I took those particular days and divided them by 3 because there was 3 signs, right? Or, well, no, because breaking it up for beginning, middle, and end, breaking up each season into 3 spots. So thereby making it 12, like what you see in the wheel, right? So a beginning, middle, and end of each season. So this is how I got to, I have 1 day of Sagittarius being in the middle of the season, and then we go into Capricorn. So Capricorn follows it through the middle of the winter season. So that would be a fixed sign, not a cardinal sign, right? And then also in the middle of the season, we have Aquarius. And Aquarius is known as the fixed. But look at how long Aquarius is in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we move, it's for 4 days. And then the majority of the end of winter is in the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarius is no longer fixed, it's mutable. And we looked at the characteristics of the cardinals, the mutables, and the fixed, or the cardinal, fixed, and mutable, right? So the seasons are not even the same as what they were. And the thing is, they're not fixed. It is out of sync with what is being even portrayed. That's why I don't necessarily even use modalities anymore. Even in the deck that I created, I didn't use modalities because those are not truly correct to what's in the sky either, which means the seasons that are talked about, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to keep on going through. So now we're in Pisces. Pisces, well, we're at the end of, okay, there's the end of Aquarius. So now we move into Pisces on March 10th, right? So it's the ending. Look at how many days we have in the ending part. In comparison to, how many days do we have? Okay, so Pisces, 41 is the size, roughly 41 degrees, and roughly about 42 days in Pisces is the sun. So we had because Pisces is normally looked at as a mutable sign, right? So it is ending 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days. And the other 30 some days, 31, 32 days are in the beginning of spring is Pisces. And that's truly when the sun is in the sign of Pisces on spring equinox, which starts spring. So it's not really, it is definitely more of a cardinal sign. And wouldn't those cardinal characteristics also move over to Pisces? So even when we talk about it being a seasonal system, if you're not really looking at where the sun is in the sky in comparison to what sign it's in, even fundamentally, the modalities and everything that they use for cardinal, fixed, and mutable, those characteristics for the signs have all shifted. So, when we go back to this, and I could show you, I did the whole year and went through and separated what is the beginning, middle, and end of each season and what signs are in them. Keep in mind, we're roughly 24 degrees off right now from what it was 2,000 years ago. And it's going to continue to become more out of alignment. Roughly 1 degree every 72 years. I think it's 71 point some odd years. As it changes another degree. So it is a slow moving thing, but we are already out of sync. We're not in sync with this system of Western astrology. So all of these cardinals, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, are actually all these signs now. They're the mutable, or no. These are the cardinals. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are all the cardinal signs now. Truly, if you're looking in the sky. The cardinal signs are all the fixed, and these are truly all the mutable. That changes their characteristics. So that's why I don't use modalities necessarily in mine True Sidereal anymore. Because even at their core, that is out of alignment. So when we say, or when the language is used that it is a seasonal system, it was when it started 2,000 years ago. But 2,000 years has progressed, and we are moving. We have a wobble to the earth called precession, a tilting of the earth. So it changes the seasons as well, what signs are in each season. And even beyond that, and keep in mind that this is all what I'm talking about here was the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere is completely different. Completely different. The opposite, as a matter of fact. So saying that Western astrology is a seasonal system, especially for Australians and people that live on the south of, or, you know, the lower part of the equator, it's not even seasonal for them. It's just based off of something that the skies looked like 2,000 years ago. So I know that this is, or can be, triggering for people because it is something that they have learned their whole life, that this is what they are. But please remember what I have said before in previous videos. This is just my take on it. Use a system to how it benefits you, not how it blocks you into or boxes you into an area or paints you into a corner telling you who you are. The only person that defines who you are is you. So use these systems as a way of empowering yourself, not limiting yourself. And when I say out of sync with the actual cycles of our cosmos and our earthly seasons, that's exactly what I mean. And I hope that this shows you that we are out of sync even with the seasons. Now let's even talk differently about our seasons. Yesterday it was 59 degrees on the 21st of February. Yesterday was my husband's birthday. And it has never been 59 degrees. I am seeing people talk about how their spring stuff is already starting to come in. And February throughout history has been the coldest, or well, modern history, it has been the coldest season. Things are changing. The earth is evolving. Our cosmos is evolving. A system that keeps you blocked into something is not evolving. So for those that did not know, there you go. For those that know, but just kind of like, it's seasonal. And that's the excuse, or that's the story that I'm being told by astrologists, that, it's a seasonal system. Not anymore, it's not. It's not based on the true seasons anymore. So please keep that in mind. And, I I hope you don't take it as in that I think that anybody that practices it, it's about sharing the truth about this. It's not about knocking anybody down that's using something. It's about letting, educating people on what's really in the cosmos. And the only way for us to do it is to share this information with each other, because it is not widely spread. If you look at everything is Western astrology. And even when I say like tarot is based off of Western astrology, it is. I'm not saying don't use that system, but understand that that's not actually based on what's in the sky. The Deacon Walk is not actually based on what's in the sky. No matter how much you want to align with it, you're aligning with an egregore, a made up or an outdated system that no longer truly serves being in sync with the natural cycles of the earth and our cosmos. So it's not meant to shame or blame anybody. It's just meant to empower people that are watching to want to start seeking more about the truth of what's actually in our skies, other than what this egregore or matrix astrology is saying. And why use the term astrology? Because it's not really, if you're not really adhering to what's really in the sky, which is the study of the stars and applying the study of the stars and how that affects us. It doesn't affect us from 2,000 years ago. It affects us from now and what's actually in the sky. So anyways, a little bit of a rant, but also just a little bit of showing you. And don't take my word for it. My goodness sakes, don't. Do me a favor and do exactly what I've done. As I've said, look at where the equinoxes, look at the dates. Not my calendar. It's everywhere. You can just look online and see when is the spring equinox. When is that has nothing to do with any kind of astrological system. It has to do with the placement of the sun. So just research that. Research when is winter solstice. Find out the dates. And then spread the number, divide it by 3 so that you get a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you can figure out by using an astronomy app, or if you have a telescope and you have good skies to look up, see what's actually in the sky and see whether or not the seasons are truly in alignment either. They're not. So thank you for spending this time with me, and I am truly sending you love always.